She's already 84 years old, but still clamoring to go to school. Faced with teacher Jenny's questioning, the old man took out a newspaper from his arms. This is the notice of free education for all issued by the Kenyan government. Jenny smiled and explained to the old man, this is only for children to attend school, instead of adult cough. The old man insisted that what he heard on the radio was that everyone could. He wants to enroll. I hesitated to see teacher Jenny. The male teacher on the side said, the school has already registered 200 students, but there are only 50 desks available. She believes that we cannot waste resources on a dying old man, so he found an excuse to make the old man retreat despite difficulties. It's a bit warm. Under helplessness, the old man had to awkwardly turn around and leave. After returning home, the old man took out the letter that meant a lot to him. Make a secret decision. He must learn to read before he dies. Personally understand the content of the letter. Hence, the next day, he brought paper and pen as requested. The male teacher sees an old man who refuses to give up. Let him go home and stay well. But this sentence angered the old man in peace. Seeing the old man getting a little angry, the male teacher quickly explained, according to school regulations, admission requires school uniforms and shoes, and the conditions of the elderly clearly cannot afford these. Jenny asked him curiously, why are you so old, still want to go to school? But they are now over-enrolling, the conditions are indeed limited. Jenny's appeal to the elderly is also helpless, although the elderly may feel a bit disappointed, but not discouraged. After returning home, decisively sell the house. The only skill I had was that I couldn't afford new clothes. He just bought an old dress, slightly sewn up. Shine up old shoes if you can't afford new ones. The next morning, the elderly are once again embarking on the path of learning. The student attire all over the body rejuvenated the elderly man, who was holding a cane in his late years. The stumbling steps of the past have now become sonorous and powerful. After arriving at school, the male teacher reminded Jenny not to be soft-hearted. If he is admitted to school, will not be able to explain to the school board and parents of the children. After all, this is a primary school. But the old man said, love is changing. Looking at this thirsty white-haired old man in front of me, Jenny moved her heart with compassion. Disregarding the advice of the male teacher, agree to enroll the elderly. He is a people's teacher, teaching and educating people. Imparting knowledge is his responsibility. Obstruction of rules. He has already rejected Maruj twice, but this time he wants to break the rules. Watching, Maruj finally succeeded in his studies, his eyes moist with a long-lost smile. But Maruj is already old, his hearing and vision are poor. Jenny can only assign him to the front row seat in class. Listen to the teacher's exquisite explanation. Maruj swims in the ocean of knowledge with the children. He also couldn't hold a pen from the beginning, stealing a pen tip to recognize familiar letters. At this moment, Muluk felt the wonder and power of knowledge. Between classes, the children are all playing and frolicking on the playground. Maruj sat alone in a corner in a daze. A little girl with leg and foot disabilities saw her, hurry up to inquire with concern. "Tib by? Ah, yes, there are 3. You've cried before, big brother, looking at the child's innocent and kind voice. Maluj's eyes are moist. Behind his deep gaze, seems to hide many stories. The class bell rings. The two helped each other as they walked towards the school. After a period of time, Mama Rug relied on his own efforts, handed over the first 84-point answer sheet in life. But the good times don't last long. During a break between classes, he saw a classmate suffering from injustice. This scene seems to remind him of something. Maluj did not hesitate to step forward and teach the perpetrator a lesson. But his 84-year-old man is suffering from the incident. It spread throughout the entire school. Students and parents are also indignant about this. They gathered together, trying to drive Maruj out of school, but Maruj is not afraid. For both parties, they're not right or wrong. But the school board leaders heard rumors. Later, the school inspected. Seeing that rumors are not false, he was uncontrollable in anger. This is a primary school. Adults must go to adult schools. So the leader asked him to leave immediately. No more entry into school. No matter how Jenny explains it, it's all useless. But Jenny didn't give up on him. He came to the school board alone, appealed to the leader. But the results are all the same. If Maruj were to be admitted, then the school will be crowded with elderly people. They want to leave precious resources to their children, and Maruj wants to learn. Can only go to adult schools. But there is no childlike innocence, capriciousness, rebellion, or laziness here, lingering on every face. This is completely different from what he imagined. In class the teacher is giving a serious lecture and being off stage, but the classmates are chatting recklessly. Maruj has a panoramic view of everything. Loss and helplessness filled his heart. Such an environment and teaching make it difficult for this trendy elderly person to adapt. After returning, she told Jenny that everything she saw was there. He learns nothing. Not looking at the disappointed gaze of Maruj, Jenny decided to privately teach her how to read. But I didn't expect this matter to be widely publicized by people with ulterior motives, even inciting parents to lower their children's grades. The responsibility for poor learning lies with the teacher. Accused the teacher of not educating the child well. Instead, he focused his energy on a dying old man. Under pressure, the school leader had to transfer Jenny to another position. This also brought an end to Maruj's path to education. On the day when teacher Jenny left, she looked at the children with eyes full of reluctance and helplessness. The children all sent carefully prepared gifts, seeing him off. But Maluj was watching from a distance. He didn't come forward to say goodbye. It's about turning around and leaving with complex eyes. The next morning, Maluj put on a worn-out suit that had been dusty for many years, using the most valuable sheep in the family as the fare. This time he's going to the city to do something big. The parents in the school are all singing and dancing to welcome the new teacher, but there was no smile on the children's faces. When the new teacher is about to enter school, the children collectively threw shoes at the new teacher in protest, and loudly call out Teacher Jenny's name. The scene was once chaotic. The new teacher was also scared, and ran away. Maruj has arrived at the Ministry of Education building. He wants to meet with the chairman of the Ministry of Education, but is evaded by the secretary on the grounds of the chairman's meeting. When Secretary Maluj speaks to someone else, sneaking in quietly, goes straight to the conference room. By the time the secretary found out, it was already too late to catch up. My third year in high school is on the third floor. Obviously, the leaders are not unfamiliar with Maruj. After all, the incident of an 84-year-old man starting school and hitting others has caused a lot of trouble in the city. Facing numerous leaders, Maluj pointed at the photo on the wall without hesitation and said. Subsequently, Maluj took off his shirt, showing crisscrossing scars on the back. Original. Maluj was a veteran of the anti-Japanese War, 1953, Kenya. Under the leadership of the Maoist Party, an armed uprising broke out against British colonial rule. More than 1 million soldiers have been captured. Here, they're suffering from inhuman abuse, and Maluj is one of them. Cruel colonists, to force him to reveal the whereabouts of the Maoist Party, pierced his goose feathers with a sharpened pencil, causing him to almost lose his hearing, shattered his kneecap, leave him permanently disabled. He even brutally killed his young and beautiful wife and young children. But none of this made Maruj submit, abandoning faith and vows. When he saw campus bullying, why are you filled with righteous indignation? Because it reminded him of the colonizers who brutally oppressed his compatriots. He sacrificed everything for the country and the people. At this moment, he is like a sharp blade drawn from its sheath, shining to the eye. But his trip is not a requirement for admission. But I'm asking them to bring back Tanny's teacher. Check for bugs. A few days later, Teacher Jenny was transferred back to school. Maluj's face also showed a pleased smile. After the children in class saw Teacher Jenny rushing out of the classroom, embrace and welcome. The next morning, Maruj found Jenny with the letter that meant a lot to him. She's also figured it out now. Because I am already old, I want to understand this letter by myself. I'm afraid it's a long way off. So I asked Jenny to read it to her. But Jenny looked embarrassed when she saw the contents of the letter. I have to entrust this important task to the male teacher. This is a letter personally written to him by the presidential office. 39. And then we'll see if we can go in. Just go in through the door. So can we just come here? 39. You're not respecting the elderly and being clean. After reading this letter, Teacher Nan and Jenny were both deeply moved. But more of it is respect for Maruj. It was the sacrifice of their generation, in exchange for today's happiness and tranquility. All of this, the president did not forget the country. Don't forget, the people haven't forgotten either. For Maruj, he also truly felt relieved in the depths of his heart. But there is no end to learning. He claimed that he wanted to learn the moment he stepped into the coffin. He firmly believes that there is power in writing. His behavior has also encouraged more Kenyan children to enter the classroom. The film is adapted from real events. As the oldest person to attend primary school worldwide, he also obtained the Guinness World Records as a result. No commentary can replace the original film. Good movies are more recommended.